Overcoming is actually what will have you get over your limiting beliefs in only 1% of your day. You want to manifest? Overcome your limiting beliefs and you will manifest. How? By dedicating 1% of your day every single day. Now, this video started with the intention of talking about balancing masculine and feminine energy for entrepreneurs. But by the end, we discovered we were talking about how to overcome your limiting beliefs. Editing this video taught me this. It is about how to manifest. Watch till the end. Welcome to my brand new channel. If you are here to learn about how to balance your energies to be an entrepreneur that brings in the creative feminine side and brings in the masculine to do side, and you're an entrepreneur struggling to make your business happen, subscribe and like this video. Come back for more every week where I will bring you and deliver to you how it's done. My name is Princella Stringer. I'm a hypnotist, life coach, business coach. Life wasn't always that way. I used to be a single mom struggling to make ends meet until I decided to make life happen my way. And I'm here to share with you how I did it. Welcome and enjoy.
So we just had a wonderful starter chat about what we're going to talk about today. And I'm really so excited and honored to have you here because you've been a very important piece of the puzzle of my growth. So would you start by introducing yourself and how we know each other?
I sure can, Princella. Thank you so much. I'm so honored, and it's a learning thing for me to accept like these things that, that people say of right, the help and me being an instrument in their transformation. I mean, it's what I so desire, but at the end of the day, you are the person who makes the things happen, right? Like it's the end. But so I so appreciate you and thank you so much. So my name is Lisa Pilon and I am a transformation coach, a success advisor inside Diamond Academy with Kathleen Cameron. And really what we do is we just help people along that path of self-discovery, self-healing, transformation, self-love. And it all really starts there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I should say how I found Diamond Academy is it was a very pivotal time in my life, like a couple years before meeting or coming into the Kathleen Cameron world.
Yeah.
I had started my business about probably 6 or 7 years before. It's a rocky time frame because there was so much growth that I had to do from the time of thinking I wanted to start a business to serve people to learning how to become a coach and realizing that I had my own journey I had to unpack. I was clueless. I was like, oh, wow, I've got a lot to learn about myself. And it was deep. It was very challenging and deep. And layers are still coming off today. So at one point, I finally decided, okay, I'm going to close everything off and take a break because I felt like I was just doing what other people told me to do. I lost my intention and my heart behind doing it. And I was exhausted. I just didn't feel like myself. And I said, I just have to stop. And after that happened, gosh, I don't remember the exact time frame, but about 5 or 6 months later, my dad passed away. And so it's been a little over 3 years now. Gosh, I hope I have that timing right, but the time is just insane after a loved one passes. And so I'm starting to feel like, oh, wow, those creative juices are starting to awaken again, like about nearly 3 years after his passing. And Diamond Academy started coming up in my Facebook feed. And I got really curious. I was like, oh, wow, I was so drawn in. Like I needed some like positivity and like awakening my creative flow again. I was getting curious, but I still wasn't there yet. That's how I came to Diamond Academy. And then it took a few months, but it was a beautiful process, actually. The process from being introduced to Diamond Academy, connecting with you all as success advisors. Really the most beautiful experience I've ever had with making a decision to opt in to purchase a course, and be a part of a program.
It was so beautiful to just hear your dreams and your desires, and and once you're in this work inside Kathleen's world, we truly see like the bright light that is just there saying like, express me, right, like, within you. And but at the end of the day, it's all up to you, and you did it. And I'll never forget, I think your first, maybe it was, I have in my mind it was like approximately 2 weeks, and then you decided to share part of your journey and things that were unfolding so quickly for you, and you were like, wow, I thought I did the work.
Wow.
Right, and then you came in, and yeah, you're still there, and it's just so beautiful to watch.
And now at this point, I'm excited to share and announce that I'm writing a book on balancing masculine and feminine energies. So before we go into that, is there anything else that you'd like to share about you as a woman doing the work that you're doing?
So actually just recently, and I think that I think it speaks to the elevation, of what happens inside Diamond Academy as we elevate as, spiritual beings, and we elevate as these beautiful souls and humans who now are here to serve. One thing that has really been sticking with me over the last few weeks is how I truly, truly see myself.
Mm.
And so I want to, when people say, who are you and what do you do? The norm is always to say, like, I'm a mom of four, and, I work as a coach, and all those things become what we do. But it's really taken a toll on my heart to say, wow, it's more like, who am I? Who are
Mm.
you? That's kind of where I like to go now. So I'm solidifying that really as we speak. That is my new transformation, right? And so I am a compassionate, caring woman. I see myself as somebody who's extremely loving, and I'm on this journey of life to seek transformation at like every new level.
Mm.
And I want to be that light for people, and or I am that light, really. I'm so blessed for you to ask me to be that light and share that with others. And so that's who I am, as I just want to want to share my love and my growth, and really impart on other people that they can be that too for others. And I think as humans, we all have this innate desire. And serve is a big word, and it's kind of melding two worlds together, because I to serve really comes from a place of like, we think of service people like nurses, firemen, and
Mhm.
that sort of thing. And then we think of being a compassionate human and we want to help other people. But really, it encompasses so much, right? And so when I say serve, I really mean it like service from the heart, and really practicing. And I can say practicing unconditional love because we're humans. And sometimes we find ourselves in a place where we aren't even having that compassion for ourselves. So I want to be that light. And
Yeah.
I just really truly want other people to know. So, and when you ask people, what do you really want to do? Everybody wants to help everybody. Well, I want to help moms. I want to help people who used to be nurses. I want to help, I want to go on mission trips. I want to help, the poor. I want to help in other like everybody wants to help. They really do. But you got to help yourself first.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so important. I have to admit that when discovering in the beginning, I was like, well, just wanted to get my creative side back. I set boundaries. I have good relationships with my husband and my kids. I love myself, but nurturing and loving yourself at a totally different way, other than I'm a positive thinker.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's something else like
Yeah.
really, really deep
Yeah.
that really does not come up until you take steps toward the thing that you want to do, that you were meant to do.
Mhm.
And then that's when all of those start coming up.
Yeah.
So what would you share about that as far as like your personal journey in discovering who you are in this space?
Hmm. So I did superficial work for many years, and it comes from like entering into new worlds, reading a new book. One of the first books that I remember made a huge impact in my life was The Law of Attraction. And I'd never heard anything in that kind of realm or space or anything in I didn't. I never heard any kind of talk about that. But the funny thing is, actually, I was meditating this morning, and I'd like to share this because um, we say law of attraction in some industries. And then as I grew up, actually, I remember hearing the word, "Oh, that's karma," but it was never good. It was always it would always come around. It would be like, "Oh, what goes around comes around."
Hmm.
And then in the Bible and in a Christian sense, we say, "Do unto others as you would have done unto you." So this language is universal. It's just said in different ways, but realistically, it means the same thing. And so that first book made a huge impact in my life because I didn't do deep inner work like the kind that we do in Diamond Academy, where we journal and we write and we really get to the things and we use all the different tools that are provided. But I
Hmm.
read that book and it really helped me to reflect on my life as to like, wow, what things have happened in my life that came back to me or that I attracted based on who I was being or what I was doing. I say that language now, but then in my life, I just sat there and sobbed. I sobbed and I was like, wow. It was like a movie playing in my mind and in my head. It was like that thing I said to that somebody that, oh
Mm.
wow, wow. And then this happened in my life and this, I was like, oh wow, wow. Like it really painted a big picture for me. And so I read that book once and it made a huge impact in my life. And then I started along that path of being a positive thinker. It was all very superficial in the very beginning of my life. um, and then I really started diving into the world of online, and really I didn't have people around me that spoke like this or that were entrepreneurs or that were successful at in the way that I had defined success at the time.
Mhm.
And so I came into the world of online and met a lot of people that had different walks of life and who saw different things and started sharing things. And then I guess we're fortunate enough that the internet became more mainstream and
Yeah.
watched videos on YouTube. And then I wanted to know more. And I kept thinking I had to grow and I want to grow and I want to grow. And there's all these things I want to do. And then fast forward probably about somewhere around 5 to 8 years, Kathleen came into my life. Indirectly met her online through some sort of online like business, right? And I had coaches then who really helped me get past a lot. Like they really did.
Mm.
But I kept seeking tools. And it
Right.
really only was the first time that I came inside this kind of self growth
Hmm.
and personal development with Kathleen through the programs that she had offered at that time. And even deeper, like it doesn't stop, right? It just
Right.
keeps going. And
That's
came into this program and really started listening to me and my
right.
divine connection and really looking within,
Mm.
really looking. I stopped seeking for things I needed to fix.
Mm.
And it's more about allowing them to come
Mm.
when things are happening, right? Like when you set a new goal, and let's just say, for argument's sake, you set a new goal monetarily,
Mhm.
right? You know what you want to do in your business and what you have to do, but you you have this hesitation or you have this block or you like that's when the time is to say, okay, so what's happening inside that doesn't match that?
Right. So I'm really super curious about, you had said that there was a point where that was when you started looking from within and going
Mhm.
within. Like, how did you know how to go within? And are you still doing the same methods at that point in time today? Or what did that kind of look like for you and discovering what it meant for you?
It was more about a discovery of like,
Mm,
I think this is where we can kind of talk about like the feminine and masculine energy, because I definitely was somebody who was very feminine, like, wear your heart on your sleeve, very compassionate person, always wanting to help people. Then if you look at yourself on the inside, it's more about I was able to go quiet. Um, I had this desire to meditate, but didn't understand what that was. Very loving, compassionate, and it's not about masculine and feminine as in being a man or a woman. It's more about energy. And but I was very feminine unconsciously. It was
mm,
just who I was, but I didn't realize that it was actually a power of mine. And Kathleen is actually, through her studies, sharing within the community, she was like, I always used to be called sensitive, is what she'd say. And I'd be like,
mm.
wow, so did I. I was always considered a sensitive person. Somebody might say like, you take things too personally or whatever, but it's more of like this. I always knew that I was connected intuitively. Like I would get a lot of gut feelings. Those things happened very unconsciously. They weren't intentional that I was connected with that power.
Right.
And I was a doer. So I wasn't taught to look within. And it was like, well, if we just do this, this might happen. The action you take. I was a good mom. I did things, right? So a lot of those things happen unconsciously. But then once you realize that you have a connection with source, with other humans, with a desire, with your own love, then you're like, wow, okay. Like when you really look in your heart, you
Yeah.
know, like when you really, 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 really look in your heart,
Mhm.
like we're not really taught to do that, right? Like we just aren't. And then that's really where I discovered it was like, oh wow, okay. There's some stuff to unpack here that I never seen before. And then I do have unlimited potential. And so had I used the tools you asked, right? Like what tools or
Right.
so I'll use one as an example, gratitudes. I
Mm,
knew a long time ago after watching The Secret that it was really important to like be grateful.
mhm.
And writing gratitudes, that was something new for me. And I still remember in 2017, because I still have my first gratitude book here. And I would write gratitudes every morning. And it was amazing how it just really lifted my energy and my spirit. But then you close the book, and then I went on with my day as I normally did.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then you come into a world such as Kathleen's now. Then her mentor was Bob Proctor, and that was kind of where it all started. But it was more about learning how to keep that vibration all day.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah.
it's really implementing that tool. It's a tool, and people like, "Yeah, I know I need to be grateful. I'm grateful, but," right?
Yeah.
Or like you do this gratitude practice in the morning, and then like I said, then I closed the book and I was super grateful, and then I just went on with my day. It
Yeah.
definitely helped and maybe changed who I was a little bit, but I wasn't aware of it. I wasn't recognizing. I didn't understand
Right.
the whole connection, right? But
Right.
now I do. Yeah.
So one of the things that we talk about is like really feeling it. So do you think you were at a stage at that point of just writing what you were thankful for, like, oh, that feels good, and then put it away? Or were you in the mindset where you were able to really feel the gratitude when you were writing at that point?
It was a gradual growth. I
Yeah.
recognized through myself that the deeper I got in the moment of and you can tell by the progression within my book. Like, I've actually went back and read it, right? Like, I started off saying, I'm grateful for the sun, and I'm grateful for my coffee, and I'm grateful for my kids, and I'm so grateful I have my mom, and I'm so grateful for my stepdad and my house. And then as you go on through the book, I really took part in that whole exercise, and I started going deeper on my own,
Mm,
saying, I'm grateful for the sun because when I go outside, it feels amazing on my skin, and I absorb vitamin D, and it can heal my body. And so I went a little deeper with how I spoke about it. And
mhm.
so I think that's truly what helped to carry me throughout my day, but I still wasn't consciously aware of it
Right.
until I learned more about the science behind gratitudes and what
Right.
they do for you.
Right. Yeah. So I also wonder, um, it felt like at some point, and it was definitely through the teachings at Diamond Academy, it felt like at some point it was like my mode of being was just like, whoosh, like shifted. Like I felt like people engaged with me differently when I went into the grocery store or things like that, and people that I didn't know. Whereas before, I've kind of felt like a little invisible, like,
Yeah.
and that was okay. It didn't really. I'm kind of an introvert, and I have my moments where I just want to, be
Yeah.
inside.
Yeah.
So it was fine. But then all of a sudden it was like this shift of, being seen in a different way.
That definitely comes with the awareness that you grow.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah.
So was there, do you remember like what you had going on in your life when you kind of felt that for yourself?
Like when I made the shift to have more awareness.
Yes. I remember when I first started Diamond Academy, I realized that when I was doing this work, I was like, why aren't things just clicking? I mean, like I think positive. I love, all the things that I mentioned earlier. Like what is not, what's not here that the things that I want haven't already manifested. Course, I say that because that was my old way of thinking, right? But it was very real. Like I went to a little bit of despair. Like, is this ever gonna happen? Working so hard to be grateful and have a positive mindset, and it all felt good. I was feeling good, but then all of a sudden I was like, is this where it's gonna stay? I was at a place of despair. My husband actually caught me just sobbing in the laundry room one day, and I was like I don't know what else to do, I don't know if that's a familiar thing for many people when you're on this journey of wanting to do more in your life, that that there's more out there for you, that you're being called to do something different than the way life looks right at that moment.
Yeah, I've had many many of those moments for sure. I think there's probably more people that do have that moment.
Welcome to my brand new channel. If you are here to learn about how to balance your energies to be an entrepreneur that brings in the creative feminine side and brings in the masculine to do side, and you're an entrepreneur struggling to make your business happen, subscribe and like this video. Come back for more every week where I will bring you and deliver to you how it's done. My name is Princella Stringer. I'm a hypnotist, life coach, business coach. Life wasn't always that way. I used to be a single mom struggling to make ends meet until I decided to make life happen my way. And I'm here to share with you how I did it. Welcome and enjoy.
Very similar. We're just not aware. It's truly when the awareness starts to happen. So, and we move away from this person who thinks that life is happening, rather than truly stepping into the idea that we are creating life. It's a glimmer. This little light bulb goes off.
Yeah.
And I remember feeling the same way you did, Princella. It's like, I don't get it. I do all the things. I'm even writing the gratitudes. I work so hard. I'm always positive. I want to help people. Like, what's just not, but there's, when I say awareness, it's all those things that you're doing. Are you being?
Hmm. Yeah.
Do you feel it in your body like a knowing?
Hmm.
you're doing all the things, but then are you like, oh yeah, I did all the things. You're not just saying, oh, I did all the things. Okay, now where's it next? What is it comment like it's more like, oh, I did all the things. I feel so good. It's great.
Yeah.
It's all coming together. I have I just feel it in my body. Like people say that on a daily basis and they don't really realize the power behind that.
Ooh.
Right? They don't. I remember saying it like when I was a young mom. Oh, I feel it in my body. Like you get super excited, but we don't realize that we get to apply that to everything in our life, to everything that we do, and the power behind it.
Mhm.
So that's where I think is the shift for me.
Mhm.
And inside Diamond Academy, we call that embodying, and that was what made Kathleen realize what she had done along her journey.
Mhm.
So for me, it was truly, and some people might not get that. Some people may be, I don't understand what you mean in your body. But just think of a moment in your life where you were super excited about something. You were getting married, you were buying a car, you were buying a house, you were waiting for that job, you were getting ready to have a baby, and the room was all done. You were throwing a birthday party for somebody and you were so excited for them. When you just think of being in your authentic state and that pure excitement that you have, and you feel that in your body, those are the moments.
Mhm.
But you get to carry, like, that's where you design life from. You get to carry that with you all day, every day.
Right. And then the next part is, for me, what I realized was like just trusting what's
Yes.
next, trusting what's not, that the what's next will come,
Yes.
and it's already living in your body, just as that feeling, the what's next is already living in your body. And it's almost as if God or the universe is waiting for you to say, ah, yeah,
It's a knowing.
it's a knowing.
That trusting is a knowing, that having that faith is not something outside of you waiting to see when it happened. It's believing before you see it. So you have to feel that in your body. You
Yeah.
have to. Because what is faith? It's not something tangible. It's not something that we see,
Yeah.
right? How do you define it?
Right. Right. You just made me think of something, that saying, fake it till you make it kind of thing,
Mm.
you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I remember thinking, okay, I'm just going to fake it till I make it, and it didn't last very long because I can't, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But there was something very real to knowing that your words are powerful and
Mm-hmm.
speaking in, oh, I know it's coming, and verbalizing that belief, you know, that in
Yeah.
the beginning, well, it's still the beginning, but now sometimes catching myself to expressing my belief verbally, catching myself using language that doesn't show or tell God and the universe that I'm ready to receive. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'll say, oh, well, what I meant to say is actually what I really mean is I wish there was another phrase for that, because I can't help but think about fake it till you make it, but it's not really faking it. I mean, you're feeling it. I'm catching my brain from telling me it might come or one day it'll be here. I'm catching my brain's interfering with where my heart and my soul is and stopping it in its tracks and helping it reword the language.
Yeah. Yeah. I have to say, I never resonated with that fake it till you make it, but I did it. Like many years ago, I heard that for the first time through like some kind of direct sales or MLM business or training or mentor or whatever. And I think for what happens with most people is that it becomes like that's where that imposter syndrome comes from, because you're pretending to be something that you're not. But you just said it. You just recoined it. I've heard this. I've heard people say faith it till you make it. You
Yeah.
just said feel it. So what if we feel it till we make it?
Mm,
So the fake it is just not being, elaborated on or explained well enough. And it's never faking it to stand face to show outside of you to somebody something that you're not.
Mm.
It's about being. It's
Yeah.
about feeling it. It's about being that person who you think needs to be to make it, to make the goal, to make the new job, the career, the business, the family, buying the house. How are you going to feel in that moment? But that's all happening inside of us. We don't
Mhm.
have to put face and pretend to be
Mhm.
something that we aren't on the outside.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why so many people get jumbled up in that, and then they feel this imposter syndrome, and they're like, well, it's more about being authentic to you on the inside.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. And
That's
so
what it's about.
this reminds me of what you had shared earlier, and you were utilizing exercises and things to develop the beginning of your journey, like in living it and embodying it, still kind of
Mhm.
developing that on your own. So, what was that like for you transitioning? Did you start off as a coach with Diamond Academy, or how did that journey start for you?
Yeah, kind of. It unfolded itself in the beginning. I came in to learn.
Mm,
I purchased the program and came in to learn, and did that program alongside Kathleen. She was a few steps ahead, and but she invited me in, and it I really, in that moment, it's something that I'll never forget, because I know without a shadow of a doubt now, because she was so aware of herself, and like her quantum leaps were fast and many. She saw something in me that I still hadn't seen in myself yet.
mm,
um and that's really where I was very mechanical, and so I knew that I had knew a lot of things.
uh-huh,
And
uh-huh,
so that masculine energy is that I could function as a coach really well in the very beginning, 3 years ago. I knew all the things. I had read so many books, I had had so many coaches, and I did the program with Kathleen, and I, things resonated with me very quickly, and I could repeat them, and I could really help people. um, but I wasn't being
yeah,
inside,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
That's where the feminine energy comes in, because you have to connect with you and connect with, I think it's way better that the information is coming from a place of your heart, which we want to call like divine source, our true nature, our authentic being. The feminine energy is so important. So I was like doing, and I was doing it really well. And then things weren't happening.
mm,
So I need to make more calls, and I need to talk to more people, and I need to show up, and I need to do this, and I need to do that. That's very masculine.
yeah,
And so I was like, okay, I'm going to go and spend some time in the feminine. Well, then you get connected so well over there that you do everything over there, and you stop doing the doing.
yeah.
And it's such a journey, and I don't want to say a challenge, because I believe that everything happens for a reason, and like
Mm,
challenges sometimes seem hard.
hmm.
It is quite a journey to really balance
Yeah.
the two, and they need to be balanced, and that's when everything will start to unfold and really really happen.
Right. I would love for you to talk more about that. Um, that that has is something that's like real world right now for me. Like,
Mhm.
and I feel so thankful right now because of the work that I was already doing on myself, took a hiatus. So some of the things had already had been established and were in my heart, and I could feel all the feels and things like that. But they weren't leading me to inspired action
Mm.
to do the next thing. And
Agree.
I feel so thankful to feel as if I can say that I'm living in being in the feminine and then taking inspired action. And I don't even realize it until afterwards. I'm like, oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's happening. And it feels good. But there's something really interesting there with the forcing of that. And it's almost as if you're two different people. This is your feminine and this is your masculine. And when you have to put on the masculine, you have to be all in that. At least that's the way it was for me. You have to be all in
Yeah,
that.
same for me.
Otherwise, things are not going to get done.
Yeah.
And if I have a thought that I want to take a nap or meditate or listen to music, no. I've got to stay in this so I can get things done.
Yeah. 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 I totally can relate. Totally.
Yeah. So what did that look like for you in kind of discovering that pathway for yourself?
I think what happens, the most beautiful part of it that happens is whenever you are um, in a place where let's say you've just meditated and you know that you've got 3 things on your list that you need to do today. It's holding that feeling while doing it.
Mm,
And I was so good to cut it off. It was like, meditate, and then I'm like, oh, I'm done. Okay, now what do I got to do on my list? And it was like 2 worlds.
yeah. Mm,
Right? Like you said, you got to know, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do this. But when we truly open ourselves up to no more awareness and really go into our heart that I was talking about earlier and really seek and see who you are, I think then what happens is that you really, really figure out very quickly that you're co creating.
mm,
It's not just God, because we were to do God's work if we look at it from a Christian sense or a religious sense. But it's true. That's why we're supposed to do it. We're the attractor of that. And so when you think of it that way, you can't do anything on your own, and neither can he.
mhm.
It doesn't happen. And so when you truly step into that awareness that you're co-creating and that everything you do is enough, that you can meditate and you're in that connection and that feeling, and then you take the action in an inspired state. And it's until that clicks for you inside. Like it really has to click in your awareness.
Yeah.
That becomes your belief. That becomes the place that you function from. That becomes who you are.
Yeah.
Then everything changes.
Yeah.
Like we don't create alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the thing is, the first thing that comes to my mind when you were saying like I got to do it and I can't stop and I got to do it, right? Like I remember being like that. You just shut off the feminine now and then go step into the mechanical and the masculine and do the do. We technically are supposed to do things easy. It's not supposed to be hard.
That
We
was
make
the
it hard.
that was like the most beautiful thing I'd ever heard in my life. I was like, what? It's
Yeah.
supposed. So you're not lazy if you want to do things easy.
Yeah. But you know what? I also believe as easy is part of the co-creating,
Mm,
right? It's not separate and it's not alone. And I think the most beautiful example is that one, if you believe that you are energy, you are like we know scientifically we just don't want to meld the 2 worlds, but we
mhm.
are. And so if you think of a river going downstream, like a river going down a hill, the water doesn't stop at the rock and say, which way is easier for me to go around this?
Yeah.
It takes the easiest path down.
Mm,
And let me ask you, when you remove the limiting beliefs and the blocks, and you were doing something before, but it seemed hard, and then all of a sudden it seems easy, why is that? Because
I
we
am,
got out of our own way.
yes, I'm actually living that right now.
Yeah.
It's funny because I was in my head about something that I needed to create, and I just said, I'm ready. I'm just going to go in there, see what happens, just get started. Do you want to know, it was the easiest experience. It's so funny you said that. It literally went through that this night, last night and this morning, and finished it off.
Yeah.
And I got stuck somewhere last night, and I thought, oh, that's because I'm tired and it's my bedtime. I need to go to bed. So I just shut it and didn't worry about it. Slept like a baby. Woke up in the morning. The answer came to me, and And I'm smiling so much about that because I am so grateful to know that my body can respond in that way, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
'Cause there was a time where, like I said, I felt like I was in despair for not having the things come to me.
Mhm.
And whenever I heard about things being easier, um, I was giddy happy about that, but not really knowing what that was going to look like, you know? But now it just feels good. It just feels good to know that my body can actually do that. I can actually feel that it is a real thing,
Yeah.
and we can all really live life with ease, you know?
Yeah. For sure. I remember hearing it the first time too. And it's like, that's when I think I truly started really understanding that we get to change our beliefs.
Mm,
You know, we believe we have to work hard. There's no wrong in that, right? If you can practice being neutral, there's no wrong in that. But it's like, where do you want to be? And
mhm.
so when you say something is easy, it's like there's no weight on your shoulders,
Yeah.
right? But then when you say that's hard, how heavy does that feel? Even just saying that word, that's hard.
Mhm. Mhm.
So
Very.
balancing the masculine and the feminine, and the way that Kathleen describes it, I love how she says it's like, when you do the masculine, when you take the action, when you're writing your blog, when you're going on a video, when you're, getting ready to go on a call with somebody or something, be inspired,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Then it doesn't feel hard.
Yeah.
But when you shut off your connection and you shut off the feminine energy and you say, "Oh, now I got to do this," that's when I think it seems like maybe unnatural, maybe not authentic, because we're pushing.
Mhm. Right. So when you're in that mode and not quite to the point of embodying and allowing that to click in you, not that we're consciously not allowing it, but
Yeah.
um it is really hard to imagine that what someone is doing now to try to start their business, understand what they should create in their business or who they should coach or whatever their business is, the decisions you need to make in the beginning to have some kind of clarity and direction. Um, for someone that's feeling as if they just don't know the answers, but really like deeply, deeply want them, what would you say to them and to help them kind of guide through really hearing what this conversation is about? It's not about hearing us saying, "Oh, it became easy," you know.
Yeah.
It's it's about hearing us say that it really, really is about, it really truly is about the journey of getting to the place that you're feeling like these things are coming with ease and flow.
Yeah. Yeah. Get quiet.
Mm, mm,
Listen, like I mentioned earlier, go within your heart and
mm,
really truly feel what it is that you really want, what
mm,
you really desire, what you really think you should do, because that's where we reveal really truly what we want, or we'll reveal something that's like a limiting belief. Because when we talk about our limiting beliefs or beliefs in general, let's just say we have limiting beliefs and we have empowering beliefs. When you grow into a new person and you start to change and you have new desires, a belief that you used to have may not be serving your goal anymore.
mm,
So when you go within and you really truly get quiet, and you are allowed, can I just say, you are allowed to do that? Can I just, if you won't give yourself permission, let me give you permission. Let Princella give you permission. Like, as a mom, I know, and I'll speak to the moms here for a second, we give so much to everybody. We give so much because we want to serve. Like I said at the beginning, I think it is in our innate being that people want to serve and do for others.
mhm.
um, you have to do it for yourself first.
Yeah.
You have to. So if you don't think that you can just sit for, I'm going to say it, 1% of your day, 1%, like, do you know what 1% of your day is? 14.7 minutes.
Mm,
Can you give yourself just 1% of your day? Like, you're worthy of more, but you're definitely worthy of that. And just take those minutes and sit quiet, uninterrupted with you alone. Just go quiet
yeah.
and you will hear something.
Yeah.
You will be guided. And that's the first step. Quiet. Just listen to your heart. If you have to write something, if you're not a writer, just listen. The
Mhm.
messages are there and you'll get a you'll hear a glimmer, you'll hear something that's gonna just nudge you along.
Right. Right. I almost imagine somebody doing that and then all of a sudden they're like,
Yep.
anything come yet? No, no. Okay. You know, but when you say get still, be quiet,
Mhm.
it's going to be natural that the voices will come in. And one little trick that I learned is that when I started accepting that that's my brain's job and that is what it is going to do, no matter how many candles I light, no matter how many pillows I prop under my legs to get myself positioned right
Yeah,
and comfortable,
yeah,
it's going
yeah,
to happen. And
yeah,
I learned to just start saying, okay, thank you. And then and my brain knows that I'm talking to it saying, okay, thank you. And then just try to settle my heart again and my spirit again.
yeah. Yeah, I would say, I remember the very first time that I got quiet, and I won't really say it's meditating. That intrigued me, and I was like, I don't know how to do that. What is that? Someone can sit for 20 minutes and nothing? Like, I just don't understand that. But if you think about the times that you do quiet yourself, if it means like when you're in the shower, and if you just allow yourself to not think of like how many loads of laundry you do, supper, work, this, that, baseball, soccer, all the autopilot things, because we're trained, like our mind, we've been trained for a long time to do that it just happens on autopilot. But just allow yourself to sit, ask a question. That worked for me in the very beginning, when I realized that you could say, okay, how can I do this? How can
Mhm.
I do XYZ? Just simple how. Huh. I can just ask a question, and you legitimately, you will. I remember saying, oh, where'd that come from? Who's that? What's that?
I
Right?
love it. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Not that I followed that for a long time. Like, it's only being reflective and looking back now. It's like, wow, yeah, that was the beginning of my journey. And
Mhm.
I remember having those feelings, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I love that you used the example about the shower because isn't
Yeah.
that when like the shower's coming down and I'm feeling it and I'm like, oh, this feels so good. And then I'm like, I have an idea.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Do you know what I used to do? Um, now I know what I was doing, but then I didn't know what I was doing. But I would be in the shower, and it's because that's where I felt the most relaxed. That's where I was like, as a mom, you're like, yeah, I just have 10 minutes to myself, I just, and you just kind of let the water wash away all the stuff, and I didn't like think about other things. And I would get an idea. So I would take my kids' bathtub crayons and I would write on the wall, because it was like, I'm going to get out of here and I'm going to forget that. And it was so good, but I didn't, and like, I didn't ask, but it's because I just allowed myself like a very quiet, safe space for me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there are times where that comes into your life, you're just not aware of it. But if anything, if we've been able to just drop a little nugget, you're going to be like, huh, yeah, I do have moments like that where I am quiet. I'm not forcefully saying to myself, I need to get quiet.
Hmm.
um, it just happens, you know.
Hmm. It does. Well, I have enjoyed our conversation so much, and thank you for really going deep and sharing your personal experience. I think it's going to be helpful to so many people, and I can't wait to get it out and share it with everyone. If someone wanted to learn more about Diamond Academy, how would they get in contact with you?
They could go on my socials. I'm on Instagram, Lisa Pilon. You'll find me there. On Facebook, it's Lisa Pilon.
Thank you for being here. I appreciate it very, very much.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. I always love chatting with you. So thank you so much.